we shift our focus to the MLS All-Star Week, because there's all sorts of stuff going on. When I finish recording here, I'm heading down to Bank of California Stadium to do some press. And then on Tuesday, we have the MLS Skills Challenge, which is back, and I can't wait to do that. And then obviously the MLS All-Star Game featuring MLS All-Stars versus Liga MX All-Stars, which happens on Wednesday. And we are privileged, and it is absolutely our pleasure to broadcast that. Both of those things, the Skills Challenge on Tuesday is on FS1, and the MLS All-Star Game is also on FS1 on Wednesday. All right, where do you want to start here when it comes to the MLS All-Star shenanigans?
Well, full disclosure, there are quite a few players dropping out on both sides, so the rosters are in a bit of flux. But there's enough talent in both leagues that I still think they're going to both put out strong teams, and it's going to be a fun game. On the MLS side, as far as I know, Lucas Ryan's going to play, Emmanuel Reynoso, Raul Ruidiaz, James Sands, Miles Robinson, Atuesta, Matt Turner in goal. So there's more than enough there to put out a very strong team. On the Liga MX side, you've got Funes Mori.
Hold on. How do you fail to mention the captain, Christian Roldan? I mean,
Christian Roldan, Alex Roldan. That's a great story.
The Roldans are there too. I mean, there's a
first set of brothers to be all-stars in the same year. On the Liga MX side, we've got Rogelio Funes Mori, Orbelin Pineda, reviving their partnership from the Gold Cup, Luis Romo in the midfield, Guillermo Ochoa in goal. So I think plenty of talent on both sides. Should be a fun game. And I will say, I love this idea. I know we've gone through different iterations of this game. It started out in East-West, and then there was one that you scored in 98. There was MLS USA versus MLS World. There was one year where they played the U.S. national team. Then there was all these years where they've played different European clubs, everybody from Manchester United. Chicharito actually scored for Manchester United. That was his first game for United in 2010 after signing with them. Bayern Munich, there was that fun, Pep not wanting to shake Caleb Porter's hand at the end of the game. Juventus, Tottenham, Atletico Madrid. I always found those European club games hit or miss. I mean, there were some years where it was fun. Others, you're catching a European club in preseason form, so they didn't always take it all that seriously. But to me, they've landed on something here that I love. The MLS Liga MX thing is red hot right now, and why not capitalize on it? So I actually think this MLS All-Stars versus Liga MX All-Stars is a great idea.
Couldn't agree with you more. I think that it ticks all the different boxes, whether you're looking at it from a partnership or a business standpoint, or when you're looking at it from a competitive standpoint. And, the advantage that individual teams, even some of the great teams in the world, have in that situation is taken out of the equation. Now, I do think there's an advantage when it comes to Major League Soccer because for the most part, a lot of these players have done this MLS All-Star thing before. And so they understand that you got to come together very, very quickly. Your time together from training is non-existent for the most part, and so you have to have an understanding very quickly of who you're playing with. MLS, all-star games, that's what we do. That's what we do in America. That's certainly what we do when it comes to Major League Soccer. And so I think that there is a familiarity both with the players and with the concept of an MLS All-Star team. And I'm not saying that Liga MX players haven't ever played in an All-Star game, but this type of scenario I think is great. What is going to be interesting is, over the years, I've heard from folks that the concept of pride for your actual league is very unique to Major League Soccer. And relative to other, you hear, EPL folks, they'll talk about their individual team, but they won't necessarily talk in the way that we talk about pride for our league, whether it's MLS, whether it's USL, whether it's NWSL, in the way that others do. We, in the past, when teams have been in tournaments, there has been a MLS for insert team, hashtag MLS for insert team. And so there is this current of pride that runs through representing your actual league. I will be interested to see how much of that manifests in a Liga MX All-Star team. And yes, you're playing for yourself. Yes, you're playing for the team that you represent, but you're also playing for this league. And all of these players will have heard the rumblings of what is to come potentially when it comes to these two leagues. They will also have heard the rumblings when it comes to the gap that has widened. They will have seen what's happened this summer. All of those different things. I'll just be interested to see how much that plays in. Ultimately, an All-Star game is a chance to celebrate. It's a chance to have fun. But in this type of scenario in particular, I think the competitive juices will get flowing. And I'm talking about the All-Star game. We'll talk about the skills thing in a second here. But I think that this, to your point, just really works, at least from the outside, and at least before the game is actually played. I think that there will be a level of competition and honor and, I guess, pride, if you will, when it comes to both of these teams. And I think because the talent, I think, is so equal, I think that whoever kind of feels more attached and feels more responsibility to represent the league in this type of situation will come out on top. Mosse,
well,
go ahead.
One person who doesn't think the talent is equal is our producer, Luis Aguilar.
Mm-hmm.
This was how he framed it in the rundown. Is this an easy win for MLS versus Liga MX? Boy, Luis Aguilar giving Liga MX some bulletin board material.
Wow. I mean, you mentioned the talent that is on display. Is it game-changing talent? I mean, we've seen all of these players to a certain extent before. Either we've seen them obviously in Liga MX starring, but also we've seen them with their national teams. We know who they are. There's nobody on this list that scares me, but they'll probably look at the same way of, whoever our counterpart of the State of the Union is down in Mexico that is recording their podcast today. They're probably looking at the MLS All-Stars together and saying, does Tajon Buchanan really scare you that much? So, or whoever put in, or the Roll Dons are all-stars. So I mean, that's the fun of it, right? It's also an opportunity for Liga MX to kind of show its wares, and as always, it's an opportunity for Major League Soccer. And I think we talked about this last week. There are segments of the soccer community out there that are constantly looking for something to justify their hate or their criticism or their ignorance, I guess, their ignorance or their ignoring of. What's the difference between ignoring and ignorance? Is that no? Okay. Anyway, to justify all of that. And if Liga MX comes in and cleans house and beats this MLS All-Star game, that will play right into a conversation or an argument that is kind of evergreen out there for people saying, yeah, that's why MLS sucks. So that's why Liga MX is so much better than MLS. But that's kind of why we are doing this.
You do have some players who have switched sides, have gone from Liga MX to MLS, like Rodolfo Pizarro, Lucas Alarayan, Raul Ruiz-Diaz, Gustavo Bo. So it's interesting for them to, in a way, sort of validate their choices. So yeah, I think there's a lot of spice to this game. I'm looking forward to it.
Now let's shift over to the skills challenge, which is happening on Tuesday. Myself and Rob Stone and Stuart Holden and Rodolfo, right?
Landeros, yeah.
Yep, Landeros is going to be with us on Tuesday night. I have we didn't have these back in the day, but I have worked on them from a TV perspective. I think that this can be wonderful. I think that a lot can go wrong from a technical perspective, but a lot of smart people have planned this out. I will give you let's give you an idea of what ultimately is going to happen when it comes to this All-Star game. So there are 5 different skills challenges. One is shooting, so shooting accuracy, if you will. One is a touch challenge, so your first touch and your ability to control balls and do all that kind of stuff. One is a cross and volley challenge, which is also always fun. You got people throwing bikes and side volleys and doing all that kind of stuff. One is an actual passing challenge, so it's over distance, it's in the air. Obviously, accuracy is important there. And then there's a more classic type of crossbar challenge, which is always fun and something that happens consistently when it comes to soccer teams in terms of the training. All of this is, like I said, going to be televised Tuesday, August 24th at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on FS1. I'm really looking forward to this because it's fun. It's fun to see how the competition in a different and unique way manifests itself, and the competitive juices get flowing. And some of these players, and maybe some players that you don't even necessarily associate with whatever is being required in that, will show and will shine. And I think you get to see some personalities out there that normally in a traditional game setting you don't necessarily get to see. So I would definitely tune into that. You know, they already got like 18 or 20,000 tickets out to folks out there. Be a lot of kids. It'll be a really, really fun time and a really, really interesting time for that skills challenge, Mosse.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I've always been a huge fan of in the NBA, they do the dunk contest and the 3-point shooting contest. D Brown winning the 1991 dunk contest is one of my favorite childhood memories. For some reason, that's always stuck out in my mind. So yeah, if MLS, obviously they do the home run derby in baseball. I call it home run derby to sound more authentic, but I think if MLS can cultivate a similar thing here, it would be great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this as well.
All right. So anyway, a lot of stuff going on when it comes to the All-Star Week this week, and we hope it all goes off without a hitch. We hope from an MLS perspective that the players and the team do well, but from a TV perspective, we want entertainment. We want goals to be scored. We want the stars to star, and we want, from a broadcast and technical perspective, to hopefully go off without too many problems. So definitely tune into that. Once again, the MLS All-Star game is Wednesday, August 25th at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time on FS1. And as I said the day before, on Tuesday, which is probably the day that you are listening to this, August 24th, it will be at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on FS1, the MLS Skills Challenge. Some great events to check out this week.
You like that clip? Well, my State of the Union podcast drops every week. Subscribe now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.